If by chance Florida State comes to the Big 12, that is not a lateral move. It is a vast improvement from conferences. The ACC is far worse than the Big 12, and it's not just because Kansas State just beat NC State, but it is an objective. At this point, it is an objective truth that without Florida State, the Big 12 is better than the ACC, and maybe with Florida State, the Big 12 is better than the ACC. And that's a harsh statement, and it's one that makes me confident that if the ACC does not get the call from the SEC or the Big 10, this league, the Big 12, can facilitate them joining. And if Florida State does get a call from the Big 10, from the SEC, very likely the Big 10, that our league, the Big 12, can facilitate a move that brings in Clemson, that brings in Miami, that brings in UNC, if that's an option on the table, that brings in Virginia, if that's an option on the table, or even Louisville or Pitt or anybody that wants to come here. And the reason I believe this league can facilitate that kind of move is not because I'm blowing hot air up your skirt. It's not because I'm a homer. It's not because this is locked on Big 12. It's because it is a fact. This league is in a better place than the ACC that is stuck in a grant of rights that everybody wants out of. It's taking SMU for 9 years, paying its own way in. It's playing Cal and Stanford. NC State has to send its track team, its cross-country team, its tennis team across the country to play Cal. You tell me that's okay? I haven't even given you the best part yet. I haven't even given you the best part. The Big 12 makes more money than the ACC. Basketball is a better product. Football is a better product, as you're seeing right now in bowl season. And there is more money being given out to the Big 12. I'm reading right here. I have in my notes. I went and I compiled notes of point, why the Big 12 is better. And so many of them have to do with money. And this league just having more money. With Florida State, the Big 12 was still bringing in more than the ACC. Without Florida State, and with the knowledge now that ESPN can drop its deal with the ACC in the next 3 years, that tells you something. There's no stability in that conference. So we make more money. Florida State, the biggest brand of the ACC, just left. There are a myriad of teams who are still pursuing, or at least toying with the idea of pursuing an exit from the grant of rights that Florida State is about to prove was fraudulent and get out of via a lawsuit. That's probably not a good thing. Florida State gave you the 38-page document of why the ACC is not a good conference, even citing the addition of SMU, Cal, and Stanford, and even listing the Big 12 as a league that's going to pay more money. Can you imagine Clemson making less money than Cincinnati in college football? Now, look, I get it. I do think the Big 10, I do think Florida State would not have made this move without the Big 10 being in conversation with them. I don't think they did this to go to the Big 12. But guess what? If they did go to the Big 12, they're making a move to a better conference. And what we're seeing right now, and it's this like the smallest domino to this SMU thing. It's one of the smaller dominoes on the very end of this, one of the last ones to fall. SMU gets added in. They get cranked by Boston College, which is hilarious and has nothing to do with this, but they're paying their way in, and it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing Florida State. It's embarrassing Clemson. It's embarrassing Miami. And guess what? When it comes to those teams coming to the Big 12, their expectations are actually a lot lower than you think. Consider this. Miami does not have a top 20 revenue in college athletics. Not a top 20 annual revenue in college athletics. They're not one of the top 20 elite brands in college from a financial standpoint. Clemson is close. They're inside the top 20, getting close to that 20 range. And guess how they did this? You didn't consider Clemson to be a big brand in college sports 15 years ago. They did this by winning. If Kansas State goes and wins 2 national championships over the course of the next 10 years and makes the college football playoff 8 times, they're going to be a top 20 team in the country from a branding standpoint and a financial standpoint. That's where Clemson is. If Clemson stops winning in football tomorrow, their endowment might stay the same. Their athletic revenue will not. Florida State, if their football team sucks the next 5 years, their athletic revenue is going to be okay. They're still a powerful brand in college athletics. I don't know if Clemson has that. I don't know if Miami has that. And well, I think the SEC might want to attack North Carolina. They might want to bring them in. Well, I think the Big 10 might want to attack South Carolina with Clemson. Well, I think the SEC might want to attack Virginia with Virginia Tech. I also believe that those are schools that if they aren't called by those 2 conferences would be happy to be in the Big 12 to make more money and be out of a grant of rights and out of a league in the ACC that can't promise them a TV deal 3 years down the road. The Big 12, listen to this. This is a true story. This is a true story. The Big 12 would be an upgrade for Florida State or Clemson or Miami or Pitt or Louisville or anybody in the ACC. So just as we were dogging on a lot of the Pac-12 guys that were, they were the Tony Altomores of the world, that the Pac-12 safe and fine, it's a great conference, they're going to have no issues moving forward. Just understand that the ACC is in a very weak and vulnerable spot, and I don't believe there's going to be a merger. I believe Brett Yormark's just going to take what he wants, and he can, because this league is better than the ACC by a pretty substantial margin right now. Money, winning. Your 13-0 conference champion just got left out of the college football playoff. Our 12-1 conference champion just got put in. Our one loss, our team that had lost a game to the same team that lost to Arizona, got put in. Everything's pointing to the ACC being in a very, very bad spot, and the Big 12 being one of the most consistent, one of the most stable landing spots for anybody in college athletics. I only got through half my points, and I rest my case. If you want more, we can have this conversation again next week. But it's a true story. If Florida State was to go to the Big 12 or any of these teams from the ACC, it's an upgrade for them. You're welcome. This has been It Always Will Be. I'm telling you what, I'll see you guys next week. Let's win some more bowl games. What do you say? Iowa State, get it done. Locked on. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.